Uh-oh, we going. It's your boy Red Dawg _ENT. And we back. Today we back with one sports analyst versus 25 NBA/NFL fans featuring Skip Bayless. I saw this thing going crazy on YouTube the other day. I'm like, let me check it out. Not gonna do the whole thing. It's like an hour and a half, so I'm not gonna keep y'all for that long. But I definitely wanted to do, I believe, 3 of these, and we'll dig into them, and I'll get your opinions and get my opinion, and we'll go from there. All right, let's get it. All right, Skip's first crazy claim is Magic Johnson is the greatest Laker of all time. What do y'all think? Magic Johnson is an incredible player. Greatest Laker of all time? I don't know about that, brother. I'd have to say Kobe, but let's go.
My first claim is Magic Johnson is the greatest Laker of all time.
Y'all didn't even try.
I know you think
Brother, he didn't even really try to get up there. If you really wanted to get that
Magic
seat,
is the greatest Laker of all time.
I do.
Skip, I think it's Kobe.
Yes,
I think the game is
Kobe.
about a bucket at the end of the day. I think the priority is scoring the basketball. Kobe did that better than Magic. I think both of them were very, very transformative in what they did for the Laker franchise and the NBA in general. And I would give it to Kobe, because of his scoring prowess and also, of course, how transformative he was and how many players he inspired.
So I have to agree with what this guy is saying. To me, the aura of Kobe, the Black Mamba, all he did for the sport and the popularity of the sport in the early 2000s was just huge. Magic Johnson did his thing, and I think, as far as rings are concerned, they're pretty even, right? But it's not like Kobe was bad on defense. Got a couple of All-NBA defense selections, and obviously he is a scoring mastermind, a scoring powerhouse, right? But Magic Johnson did have some clutch games there under pressure, whereas Kobe had a couple games where he wasn't as great. I'm trying to remember what game that was, but there was a couple games where he kind of stunk up the place. But then again, LeBron had a couple games where he stuck up the place in some of these finals and some of these games where they kind of lost it. So, but yes, for me, Kobe is the best Laker of all time. It's not even close. Actually, no, that's not true. Johnson is close. Magic Johnson is close, but I'd have to say Kobe is the greatest of all time. Let's get back into it.
Look, I take nothing away from Kobe's ability to score buckets, get
that
buckets,
guy, man?
because nobody was greater in the history of the game. Magic did transform the franchise because, remember, Kareem had been a Laker for 4 years doing next to nothing until Magic walks in the door in 1980 and turns them around and gets them all the way to a Game 6 at Philadelphia in the finals, in which Kareem could not go. And I believe Magic Johnson that day at Philadelphia that evening played the greatest NBA game of all time, greatest playoff game, because he goes as a rookie for 42, 15, and 7 with 3 steals. He makes 14 of 23 shots and all 14 of his free throws and lifts the Lakers over Dr. J's Sixers to a championship, and he's off to the races. Now let's look quickly at Kobe.
Okay, I mean, he's bringing up a good point there. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, I do remember some Magic Johnson, some of them real clutch games where he really buckled down. 42 points as a rookie? That's insane now. I mean, you gotta give it up to him, man. Let's continue and see what else he's got to say.
Yeah, no disrespect, but I feel like Kobe was obviously Robin to Batman in the three-peat with Shaq, because Shaq dominated those 3 finals the way no players ever dominated an NBA finals to me, including Jordan. That's why I think Shaq is the second greatest Laker of all time.
Okay, all right. So you're saying Shaq is the second greatest Laker. Damn, I can't argue with him on that. During that three-peat, yes, Shaq did have some games where he basically carried them on his back, and Kobe was just kind of along for the ride. Now, the last 2 rings that Kobe ended up winning, I feel like he was the main martyr for the reason why they won that, the main piece as to why they won those. But those first 3, he's right. Shaq did kind of carry them to those rings.
And in those finals, Kobe was good, but he wasn't close to the production that Shaq was equaling. So then Shaq, they fall apart. They lose to the Pistons, obviously, 2004, and he's gone, traded away to Miami. And here we go. So Kobe, without Shaq, misses the playoffs the first year. Then they lose to the Suns in the first round, and he has the pout game in Game 7, and it's hard for me to forgive him for that.
Yeah.
And then they lose to the Suns in the first round the next year, And then they lose to Boston in the finals. In the closeout game 6, Kobe is horrible in that game, and they lose by 39 points at Boston. I can't defend that. They broke through and beat Dwight Howard's Magic. It was supposed to be LeBron's Cavs. So I thought that was a little overrated. And then even when they did beat Boston and get over the hump, in game 7, Kobe was 6 of 24 in that game. So I don't know. I agree with your big picture, but when I go little picture of playoff performance without Shaq, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I totally understand what you're saying, and
I mean, he brought up some damn good points. So, I mean, this is going to be a good one here because he's bringing up some facts to back up his argument. So it's not like he's just saying crazy shit like he used to do with Shannon Sharp, and it has really not a whole lot to back it up. No, he's pulling out facts and figures. Based on what he just said, I mean, he's kind of right. But he only pulled up one Magic Johnson series there to say that, you know, he kind of lifted him up. I mean, how many was Magic Johnson the main focal point as to why they won it?
And I think Magic was extraordinary. And to be a rookie and start at center in the finals as a point guard, I mean, we've never seen that before. I don't know if we ever will. And yeah, he was terrific. He was splendid. He won his championship.
Splendid.
Of course, Kobe got his. And I understand you picking out these individual games and years and teammates and everything. And I think, you can really do that with anyone. And I think it's important to look at the big picture.
Kobe's mystique was bigger than Magic's. But
of course,
if you look at Magic's productivity, how he changed a culture that both Shaq and Kobe benefited from piggybacking that culture. I'm going slightly Magic over Shaq, Shaq over Kobe. Good job,
Thank
Jack.
you so much. I appreciate it.
All right.
Okay.
Way to go.
All right, who's next?
So, Kobe Bryant, 20 years with the same team, 18 All-Stars, 15 All-NBA, 12 All-Defense, MVP, 2 Finals MVPs, 5 championships. And even though he's done all of that, I think what makes him the greatest Laker of all time, it's different than what makes a player the greatest player of all time. Because like LeBron's not the greatest Heat player of all time, that's Dwayne Wade. So it's not just are you better, like are you greater, it's what you've done for that city and that franchise. And I would argue it, I love Magic, I grew up on Magic, but when you watch,
it feels like you grew up more on Kobe. Right?
You grew up on Magic? He looks pretty young.
I'm older than I look, honestly. But,
okay. And there you go.
Magic, when you saw him on the court, he was like the greatest showman, right? He's performed.
Because like for me, I didn't grow up with Magic. I mean, obviously, and I'm not old enough to have grown up with Magic when he was playing in the 80s. But I was obviously watching Kobe when he was playing. But I've gone back and watched some videos and stuff like that on how he dominated and did his thing and won those championships during the 80s. But I didn't grow up with him, but let's go.
Former, charisma, a smile, the flashiness, showtime, right? Kobe, when you saw him on the court, it was like watching your brother, your sibling or your uncle or something, your son, because he had this fully realized character arc. He was a rookie, he failed, not drafted by the Lakers, but we got him, early. And the air balls, and then the rising to prominence, 2000.
He was just 18 years old, but go ahead.
Yeah. The 2000, taking over in the finals after Shaq got hurt, after Jalen Rose shadily sprained his ankle, and then he came back, and then, he got him back with the 81 later. And then the championships, and then there was he went through kind of a villain arc.
Yeah.
He did.
There was like Colorado.
There was Colorado.
All the down years.
Good. Like it.
If you're a fan, Kobe's with you that whole time. And I actually didn't like Kobe early on. I was mad when they started playing him over Eddie Jones, like early days. And you went through all of that, and Kobe just won you over. That's why there are more than 350 murals of Kobe in LA.
Okay, so you're making the case that Kobe is dearer to your heart than Magic was. He has a bigger place in your heart. And I'm making the case that Magic had greater impact consistently than Kobe had, because Magic was the driving force of the Showtime Lakers, and Kobe was not the driving force of the three-peat, right?
Sure. Let me address that real quick. Because you're going to the finals and you're talking about Shaq, but that's always with the team from the East, and the East had notoriously bad big men. Everyone knows in those years, the finals was the Western Conference Finals. Yeah, and in those series, Kobe was instrumental. In 2002.
Oh, he spent some facts now.
Kobe and Shaq basically throughout the whole playoffs had equivalent points. Yeah, the same amount of points. And Shaq himself has admitted on various podcasts and different things, he was never the guy to take the last shot. I know you value that, right? Jordan's your guy. Kobe is the closest thing that we've ever seen to Jordan. And he was a guy who never shied away from the moment. He was a guy who always made the most of his opportunity when it was there.
I give you that.
And I don't think he gets enough credit for the second run that he made with Powell.
Yeah.
That team wasn't.
That team wasn't great.
All-time.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. That second run, he was the instrumental piece that got them over that hump. Over the Celtics and all that stuff. I mean, they don't win those championships, those last two, without Kobe, period. I mean, without Shaq, obviously, at that point.
But his breakthrough was not against an all-time team because, remember, the Magic upset LeBron's Cavaliers to get to the finals, right?
I mean, I give you that, but you can only play the team that, I think LeBron, maybe he's the one who did. They had the Nike commercials. LeBron didn't hold up his end.
He didn't hold up his end in the bargain.
I mean...
Okay, so you're okay with Kobe pouting in a Game 7 at Phoenix against Raja Bell?
I'm not okay with it, but I mean, are you okay with 84, Tragic Johnson, where, runs out the clock, throws the turnover?
Okay.
I mean,
he
everyone's
did, but he
got
bounced
failures.
right back the next year in 85, and he shoots a baby hook shot.
And Kobe bounced back the next year by going to the finals.
Okay, he did.
Go ahead, boy. Go ahead. He ripping his ass. Boy, don't let Skip get off the hook. Go ahead. I love it.
You mean after the
I love it.
After the pout.
I love it.
Okay. To me, those failures you're pointing at, every player has failures.
Yes.
Except for maybe who's your GOAT. But every player has that.
No, but Jordan does have some failures. Early in his career, I mean, they didn't do anything. He didn't win anything until year 6. But I don't know if that was more failure of him or on the team. That was more the team and the coaching.
Magic has that. Kobe has that. I think in terms of LA and LA.
Okay, but if you look at Shaq's numbers in those 3 finals, and I give you that the big men, the Tim Duncans, were over on the other side of the bracket, right? Mm-hmm. But he goes 38, 17, and 2 in their first finals. 33, 16, and 5, and 36, 12, and 4. Look at the assists. He's averaging 5 assists a game in the NBA Finals. Listen, those 3 years, and I've been doing this a long time. I was actually covering the Kareem Lakers pre-Magic out here in LA.
Let's get voted out real quick.
Okay. Yeah, that guy he looks like he feels so uncomfortable. Like he's like, can you get this camera up my face? It seemed like everybody in the crowd kind of looking like that.
Real quick.
Y'all on camera. Just relax. It's all right.
Were any of those finals really competitive? Pacers, Sixers, and Nets. No, they weren't competitive. They dominated those teams.
Because you had the greatest offensive force I've ever seen, including Jordan, where he was unrefereeable at that point because I never knew whether it's offense or defense, on the foul.
I think Kobe could easily have had better numbers. He didn't have to. Shaq, those teams were not equipped to play against the Lakers. Credit Allen Iverson for getting the one game in 2001.
It was big. That was the greatest achievement of his career.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good job.
All right. Yeah, he did great. Who's next? Oh, this dude here has been looking at the camera.
Okay, you're getting close. I will.
How you doing?
Nice to see you.
Yep, so how is Magic the greatest Laker of all time when he wasn't even the greatest Laker on his team? That's Kareem. Kareem was first all-time in Lakers points, first in rebounds, first in blocks, first in field goals made, and he had an unstoppable move in the skyhook, has one more championship because he has 6, Magic has 5, and he has 3 more MVPs.
Okay.
We haven't even got to Kobe yet.
We haven't. All right, let's look hard at Kareem's career. So he wins his first ring in Milwaukee, helped by Oscar Robertson kind of at the end of his career. So that's 1971.
1970, yeah.
Then he goes 4 more years in Milwaukee and nothing really. They were pretty good, but they weren't great.
Good enough,
Then he comes to L.A. in 76 is his first year with the Lakers. And again, there's no Magic yet, obviously.
Right.
And they miss the playoffs the first year. The second year, they get swept by Portland in the conference finals. The third year of Kareem, no Magic, they lose in the first round to Seattle. And the fourth year, Kareem, no Magic, they lose in the conference semifinals to Seattle. So they're floundering with Kareem because he was a follower and not a leader. I give you every point you made about points and about rebounds and about blocks and about skyhooks and all that is sensational.
Yeah, it's all great.
But
he's right though. It's all that stuff is great, but at the end of the day, are you winning? Are you winning at the highest level, which is in the playoffs? No, you're getting swept in the first round. You're getting beaten in the first round. You're not even making it out of the first round to the damn, you're not even sniffing a damn conference championship game. So
missing ingredient called leadership, charisma, whatever that greatest intangible is, that Magic had greater than anybody this side of Jordan.
Yeah, no, I give you that. I give you that for sure.
Right.
But the thing about it is, you were talking about in 1980, right, when Magic won Rookie of the Year. Would he have won Rookie of the Year if he would have, would he have won Rookie of the Year?
Without Kareem?
Without Kareem? Kareem was averaging 33 points that series.
Well, I would like to think he would
before he
have.
got injured in
He could
Game
have gone
6.
to Utah or wherever he would have gone. I just think he would have been Rookie of the Year. But
Right.
he was the perfect fit at the perfect moment for this team. And it became a super team,
okay,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah, it was Showtime, and they had Big Game James, obviously, and they had Byron, and they had Michael Cooper guarding the way nobody could guard on the perimeter. I give you all that.
This
But
guy
it
here, bro.
gelled around the new son, S-U-N, who was Magic, right?
Right.
And he lifted them into what was 9 finals, okay?
Yep.
And
Damn.
he is the driving force. Kareem wasn't. Kareem was really more of a Robin, but you can make a case he was the greatest Robin of all time.
Right.
Okay? I give you all your numbers because clearly it took LeBron playing now 22
Yeah,
years, but
exactly.
it took 21 years to break Kareem's record.
And that's the point that I was making, is that at the end of the day, like, unless Kareem just got unlucky because the best player of all time, LeBron James, took that scoring title from him, but he would have been able to keep that for his whole life. And then
He
if we
would
go
have.
to Kobe, right?
Right.
For example, if I was to take your papers right there, ball them up in a trash can and shoot it, whose name would we say? We wouldn't say Magic.
No.
Who we saying? We saying Kobe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
and that's
I like
what it's
that. I
about.
like that.
And when we talk about like keeping that mentality, how you go through life, how you focus on what you need to do in life, nobody says, keep that magic. They say keep that Mamba mentality.
Okay.
That's what it's all about.
Okay, but you grew up in the Mamba mentality
Right.
era. Am I right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, of
That's
course
why I
they
started
did.
off with Kareem first.
Okay. All right. You do, and I give you that.
Yeah.
But Magic Johnson was the greatest NBA leader ever, beyond Bill Russell, beyond Michael Jordan, beyond we got Brady over on the other side in the National Football League. So that's another argument. But on just NBA leadership,
Right.
Magic on charisma, on winning time, as he called it winning time, and
But-
in my generation, winning time was more important than, because we didn't know Mamba mentality yet.
Right.
I want winning time.
I
want
Kobe,
magic time.
Kobe had the same type of
but
leadership
five
style.
and
as
four,
far as,
it's not like he was
Kobe
perfect.
had aura. Like,
did.
jobs not
Oh, yeah.
finished, like all of those things. But also, he showed it in actions first. You know what I mean? He
did.
wasn't really
I
about the
think-
partying or going out. He was so dedicated
I
to the
think
craft.
Kobe was a Jordan-esque leader, and he modeled every bit of his action, his very body language after Michael Jordan, and he led like Jordan did, and it wasn't a pretty sight because he could be a real, just a tough leader, like a.
Yeah, not likable.
He gave nobody any slack at all. He pushed, he pulled, he cursed, he did it the way Jordan did it.
I
And it
agree.
was scary. It was like an intimidation, leadership by intimidation. Magic did it with a smile, but Magic, listen, I got to know him in his rookie year. He was as tough as they came. You wouldn't want to mess with him.
I agree with you. I mean, leadership comes in all different forms,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You never know how somebody's going to choose to lead. But, Kobe led in plenty of ways. And also all of the players that picked up a basketball because of his presence. We wouldn't have Devin Booker without Kobe. Jason Tatum is
I'm with
doing
you,
what he does.
But
So,
I'm
yeah.
looking at the first 4 years with no Shaq, and Kobe really struggled by himself because he couldn't, because he was a solo act of solo acts. Of
course.
So it took Jordan a while to figure out, hey, you actually need those 4 other guys along with 8, 9 other guys
pass the ball.
to get this done. And with Phil's help, he finally figured that out when they broke through.
Yep.
But even after the pout game in Game 7, if I look at Kobe winning the championship, getting even with the Boston Celtics in that Game 7, he shoots 6 of 24 in a Game 7. Well, that's not Mamba mentality, and I didn't love that. It's like, remember, Ron Artest, Meta World Peace, hit the shot of shots in that game with a minute left. He hits a big 3 that gave them the cushion.
I'm a Celtics fan. I watched that. It broke my heart.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Thank you, Skip.
Way to go. Good job.
All right, yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome. He was a little nervous with it, so I mean, he could have been a little smoother. But I'm not, I get it. He's up there in front of the bright lights and shit. He's a little nervous, and you know what I'm saying. But probably should have took. I'm not gonna say. But anyways, let's get back to it. What we got next?
Ooh.
Sorry. I think that Magic Johnson is one of the greatest Lakers of all time, but because he had a shortened career, unfortunately.
He did. It was still 12 years, but it should have been
12 years, but not 20 like Kareem, like Kobe, like LeBron. But I'm going to go a little off path here. Okay. I'm going to argue that the logo was the greatest Laker of all time. He only won one, but he had to play against the greatest dynasty in the history of the sport. He had to play against the greatest leader in the history of the sport, I think, Bill Russell, who would make, like Magic, everybody around him better.
Okay.
Also, he scouted for the Lakers afterwards.
He did.
He coached the Lakers during the time that you're talking about Kareem getting there.
Not well, but he coached.
They actually did okay. They actually did okay. They didn't have a great team, but they did. Like, I think they got the Western Conference Finals at least once.
Yeah.
And then he stepped.
But I believe they got swept in that Western Conference Finals that they made it to. So, I mean.
Aside. And when Buss wanted to hire Riley, because Magic pushed Westhead, right?
Out. Yep.
Buss tried to make them co-coaches, and West and Riley, and West right afterwards said, that's not the case. It's Riley's team.
Right. He wanted no part of that.
And he's a badass, like in that way. And he put together Showtime. He put together Shaq and Kobe. He helped Memphis have a team at all.
Okay,
he
but we're not talking about post-career. We're talking about playing career, because Jerry West, to me, is the greatest GM ever in the history of the NBA. And by the way, Michael Jordan was the worst GM in the history of the NBA.
Not
just for objectivity here. But to your point.
I mean.
Okay, so Jerry West and the Lakers get to 9 finals, and he loses 8 times, and a lot of it had to do with that guy, Bill Russell.
To the greatest team ever.
But if I swap out, if I put Magic in place of the logo on those teams, Magic was the greatest winner this side of Michael Jordan that I ever closely observed and got to know. So if you put him in on those Jerry West teams with Wilt and with Elgin and with Gail Goodrich, that he puts them over the top because of his dynamic charisma and leadership. It was unequaled. I've never seen anything like it.
Jerry's leadership, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
but Jerry's
it was quiet leadership. It was, but it wasn't.
But he had Elgin, who was charismatic, who was like Michael Jordan before Michael Jordan.
I got it, but man.
And West won the MVP of the finals, only person.
Time going out.
Losing cause.
On a losing cause.
Yeah.
That's how great he was.
He goes 1-8
He's the
in the finals
of the NBA.
And you can't say that's better than Magic's winning time, Showtime.
Also, to be the greatest Laker ever doesn't mean you're the greatest Laker player ever necessarily. It means you're the greatest. That. So he's the only one that was great as a player, great as a scout, I think good as a coach, great as a GM, great as an advisor.
He was good as a coach.
As a logo for the entire NBA the whole time. He didn't ever do anything wrong.
Okay,
and he played
but
long.
if you put Jerry West on the Showtime teams, do you
damn, my boy gonna take up the whole time left,
they're
man?
Showtime? Because they're not, because he didn't play with any.
Kurt Rambis was on the Showtime team.
Well, he was. He was like a sixth man or badass enforcer.
Jerry West would have been fine. He would have been like Byron Scott or better, right?
Yeah, but again, if you didn't have Magic Johnson on those teams, you don't have Showtime. There's no more Showtime.
You don't have Showtime.
And Jerry West was as pretty a jump shooter as I've ever seen. It was just beautiful form, and it was mesmerizing, but it wasn't captivating, right? It wasn't Magic Johnson. I couldn't take my eyes off Magic because he had the big smile. He had the greatest smile in the history of the game.
Yes.
And it was contagious on his team. He lifted his entire team with his own charisma.
He did, like Russell, like Russell did in his own way. But I didn't realize that compellingness was part of what made somebody the greatest Laker ever. I thought it was like scoring.
Well, leadership. And I don't think Jerry was a great leader.
Really?
I think he was more of a solo act. He stayed to himself. He was a quiet leader, but not dynamic.
He helped manage.
Not a powerful voice in the locker room kind of leader.
He helped manage Wilt,
I guess, for a little while. And they got a championship. They got one championship
for the
out
best
of it.
Laker team ever, arguably.
Yeah, you could certainly make a case for that. Yeah. All right. Good job. Way to go.
I gotta admit, guys, coming off this first question and moving on to the next one, Skip's actually been pretty cool on this. He's He's not fighting quite as much as he did against Shannon and how he does against some other guys that he's, like Stephen A and all them. He's kind of being a little bit more tame, but he's coming with the facts. He's laying the facts down and he's giving them what they need, kind of to form an opinion. It's not going to change their opinion, but it's to form an opinion and at least discuss it and give it a conversation, a discussion. But it's great, man. I really like this a lot. This is awesome. Let's keep going.
Michael Jordan is the GOAT and laughably better than LeBron James.
Agreed. I don't know about laughably. I wouldn't say that.
Woo.
I'd say he's better, but not laughably. Come on.
Good. How are you? Nice to meet you.
Let's get into this. Now, this is going to be controversial for all kinds of reasons. We know the young generation love LeBron. We know the unks and millennials like me. We love our damn Michael Jordan because we were around at a time. You had to be there in the time. We didn't have social media in the 90s. You didn't have all this bullshit. All you had, every time Michael Jordan had a press conference or spoke, it was like the fucking president was speaking. And everybody from the 90s knows what I mean. And those finals games with him in it, people were glued. It was like the fucking Super Bowl. The finals aren't like that anymore. The finals aren't like that with LeBron in them. I'm sorry, they're just not. So we need to stop that. He brought so much to the sport. I don't know if we'll ever see that replicated in our lifetime. I don't know, but we'll see.
Career, everything you stand for in this industry, but this awful take, I'm not going to let it seep through.
Okay.
So,
right.
Michael Jordan, there are two angles to looking at the GOAT debate. Number one, could Michael Jordan have done what LeBron is doing in this era? And vice versa. The other angle is there any single thing that Michael Jordan has done over the course of an entire career better than LeBron James? So I'm asking you, is there one thing that you could definitively say that Michael Jordan did better than LeBron James over the course of his entire NBA career?
Yeah, he won better. He just won and won and won.
Exactly. And you can't deny 6-0 in the finals. Michael Jordan, at the highest level, he won repeatedly, over and over and over again. People got sick of his ass, but that's greatness right there. I mean, that's just how it is.
Invincible and unbeatable, and he went 6-0 in the finals with 6 MVPs. And no, they didn't play the toughest competition in the finals, but the beasts were in the East, and he devoured and slayed the beasts one after another. Bird Celtics, then the bad boy Pistons, and then Reggie Miller's Pacers. And when you go 6-0 with 6 MVPs in the finals versus
it's hard to
4 and 6 in the finals for LeBron, and Ray Allen saved LeBron a loss there because LeBron had completely self-destructed in Game 6 of that 2013 finals. And then if Kyrie, when nobody can buy a shot, if Kyrie hadn't hit the shot of shots in Game 7 at Oracle LeBron could be 2-8 in the finals. So.
And he's right about that. That game, which a lot of people say is the best finals game of all time, which I agree with. That's Game 7, Steph Curry, LeBron. That game, like I said, them last like 5 minutes, everybody was bricking shots. Steph Curry all of a sudden got cold. Everybody all of a sudden got cold, and Kyrie hit that shot that basically won them the game. I mean, that's just the truth of the situation, not to form an opinion. It's a fact. You know what I mean? Let's keep going.
But we're talking about winning. I say it all the time. LeBron is still, to this moment, the best passer in basketball. I say it all the time. LeBron is still the greatest driver of the basketball I ever saw.
Yeah.
To a fault.
He's strong.
Because he's a poor jump shooter, a poor three-point shooter by star standards, or certainly by superstar standards. And he's a poor free throw shooter by superstar standards. He should have 5,000 more points, but he's such a worse shooter than Jordan ever was as a jump shooter and a free throw shooter that it's hard for me to say, how can you call LeBron the GOAT when he's a lousy shooter?
Part of the argument to what you said is everything you just said is wrong. So if you look at true shooting percentage, which takes into account all the offense, all the scoring, who had the better true shooting percentage in his NBA career in the regular season? LeBron James. Who had the better true shooting percentage in the playoffs? LeBron James. And you just said Michael Jordan won a lot better. So starting 1-9 in the playoffs in his career doesn't count, just doesn't matter. Okay. Or losing to the Pistons over and over again because he was so dominated by any level of physicality because he was soft. So that does not count. That doesn't matter.
Wait, did you just call Michael Jordan soft?
Compared to LeBron James?
He was the baddest.
No, brother. Soft is a crazy word to talk about Michael Jordan. You could talk to any of his teammates. That nigga was the hardest on himself and hardest on his teammates that I've ever seen. I mean, he sounds like he was not pleasant to play around, but damn it, he was gonna make it better and he was gonna drive results. It really was about figuring it out. He was a ball hog early in his career. Once he figured out, I need these other 4 players to win championships, to win big games, and they got themselves a coach. That's when the winning started happening. It was unlocked. It's the truth. Let's keep going.
You know what? Whoever stepped on a basketball court,
Not
trust
like
me,
LeBron.
I was there. Not like LeBron.
Not like LeBron.
LeBron is like the nicest guy ever. He's soft. He's a diva. He's thin-skinned.
Agreed.
And can I start?
Did we see what happened the other day in the Lakers game where he basically tripped over a guy and started crying and weeping to the ref? Like, come on now.
Down the litany of epic fails that LeBron had that Jordan never had. Yeah, it took a while to break through against Larry Bird's Celtics.
Exactly.
But remember that
the competition was
Michael
crazy.
Jordan had missed the whole year. He played 3 games and broke his foot. This is his 2nd year in the league. And he comes back just for the playoffs and goes up against arguably the 86 Celtics were you could make a case they were the greatest team ever. And
they literally had, how many fucking all-stars did they have on that team? Hall of Famers on that team? Of course he can't beat him, dude. I mean, he's playing by...
What does he do? He scores 49 in game 1, and in game 2, he scores 63. It took double overtime.
Yeah.
But after that game, Larry Bird said that was God disguised as Michael Jordan. Well, trust me, Larry Bird would have never said God disguised as LeBron James because look at the epic failures here. Do you remember 2010, the last go-around of the first stint in Cleveland? It's against the Celtics in the playoffs. It's the conference semifinals. They win big by 22. He's 14 of 22 from the floor. It's game 3. Then we get to 4, 5, and 6, and right on schedule, he just crumbles to the point that he had somebody from his inner circle tell Stephen A. Smith at ESPN, because I was there alongside Stephen A. at that point, that LeBron had to be sedated before games 4, 5, and 6 because he was having some locker room issue with a teammate, Delonte West. Listen, Michael Jordan never had any issues with locker room teammates because they wouldn't dare to have an issue with Michael Jordan. No. So the point was he had to be sedated. What a wimp! What a weenie! Is that what we're talking about? And then Dan Gilbert, his owner, a few weeks later, accused LeBron of quitting in those finals. And then do you remember the first go-around with the Heat, the 2011 finals? Do you remember the chosen one became the frozen one? I've never seen like it. Michael Jordan never did that. Even when they were starting 1-9, people were scared to death. Nice try. Yeah.
Damn.
Hey, good job.
Okay. Yeah,
you got some quicks.
Some quicks.
Because I'm ready to come get you.
Okay, here we go.
You ain't gonna get
I'm
nothing.
gonna start here with you. You want to discredit talking about 1-9 in the playoffs, and then not even talk about the fact that he couldn't even get to the finals in his first 6, 7 seasons, right? So you prefer somebody not even making it to the finals? That's crazy. You want to discount
think of what he had in the way.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, man. Y'all gotta look at the competition. When LeBron was playing those teams in the East, they were the what they call them, the Eastern Conference. That East was bugging, bro. The West was a joke back then, but the East was crazy. I mean, you're talking about some all-stacked teams, man, with Hall of Famers everywhere. You can't do it alone, man. You just can't.
Greatest teams ever in the way, and he didn't even have a Robin yet. He was going solo. He didn't have a Scottie Pippen.
LeBron
yet.
LeBron did first couple years.
Okay, I'll
LeBron
give you
did,
that.
and he made it to the finals. He made it to the finals with a less roster than Jordan did.
And they got swept by the Spurs, and I didn't even bring that up because I give you that one.
Yeah, but that's because the Western Conference was better.
So you want to hold somebody accountable for going to the finals and losing, then not going to the finals at all.
Yeah, but okay, but going to the finals when your conference fucking sucks means nothing. That's like the goddamn. That's kind of like the NFC when Tom Brady kind of went during. I mean, obviously they were a great team. Tom Brady went with the Bucks. The NFC was kind of a joke then, man. The only teams really in the NFC that were any good. Drew Brees had fallen off a cliff. Aaron Rodgers obviously is a playoff choker, although he's great in the regular season. But the path to the Super Bowl was pretty easy. Who did he play? He played the Washington Commanders, He played the Saints with a Drew Brees that had his shoulder effed up. He played Aaron Rodgers, who historically chokes at Lambeau Field, and he played Patrick Mahomes, who was missing his offense. And I'm not taking anything away from it, but you got to look at the path and who you played. That's the big part.
More money to the city, so many more things accomplished, less players on the team, right? Then his other final losses, right? You could even talk about the fact that when he went up against the Warriors, he didn't even have a running mate with him either, right? So every time you want to protect Jordan, I knew you were going to go with 6-0.
Okay, so he goes up against the Warriors.
Okay.
And I always give him this. Those first 3 games, you remember, because he doesn't have Kevin Love, he was gone already, right? Kyrie fractures his kneecap in overtime of game 1 at Oracle. Remember this? LeBron put up the greatest numbers of his career for 3 straight games. And I'm like, you got this team, because they weren't the Warriors yet. They obviously didn't have KD yet, and they weren't sure who they were. So they're down 2-1, and game 4 is in LeBron's house in Cleveland. And in game 4, he was horrible. He goes 7 of 22. He was 5 of 10 from the free throw line. And I'm like, the next day, I'm telling Stephen A on ESPN, he had a chance to step on their throats.
Yeah.
It was, remember, the Iguodala game where Steve Kerr said, I'm going to switch. I'm going to start Iguodala, and I'm going to put him on LeBron. And LeBron just shrank. He closed up. He had them. If he had stepped on their throats and they'd gone up 3-1 in that, this is the 2015 finals, the first one against the Warriors.
Yeah.
You got me. That you could make a go case. But instead, he shrinks and disappears in games. Here we go again. 4, 5, and 6 right on schedule, and they lose in 6 games. So he couldn't close deals. All the great clutch shots that Jordan made, they closed deals. LeBron's made a few clutch shots, but they never mattered. They were never meaningful. They never ended series or games or championships.
No, you see, that's where you're trying to pick and choose, right? You want to talk about clutch games, but then you don't want to talk about how he's dragged so many teams to the finals, right? And he's the one hitting the game-winning shots, right? The same way he took Toronto out. Right? The amount of times he did that countless times, you don't want to talk about that, though.
Well, I will.
You want to only talk about when Jordan does it in the finals as if Jordan's career was only 6 years. He's 6 on the finals, but his career isn't 6 years. No. He had 6 to 7 years before that, and then he had another 2 years in the Washington Wizards at 40 years old. We don't want to talk about LeBron at 40 now.
Okay,
They literally tried to drag him out the court. Gilbert Arenas talked about how they literally was ready to hand him the keys and get Jordan out of there by 40. He was a cancer.
He was not that bad. Jeez, he wasn't that bad. I mean, he obviously was a far cry from what he was, but that Washington Wizards Jordan wasn't terrible. I watched some highlights of him the other day. I mean, he had some bad games, but overall, he wasn't like awful, though. I can't give you that.
Ceremonial years. He wasn't a cancer.
Yeah,
he was running the show. He was going to be the GM and the head coach and the fading superstar.
So those years don't count then.
Okay,
that's the way it sounds
the last 2 years I don't count.
That's crazy.
Okay,
but then you want to count everything about LeBron. You want to count everything about LeBron, but then take some years out.
He took 3 years off. He retired because they ran his coach out the back door in Chicago, and he said, I'm out. Well, it was on pride and principle. He just said, I'm out. I'm not going to play anymore. And he came back because he was...
Greatness means keep playing year in and year out. Every year, LeBron keeps extending his career because the love of the game, and that matters.
Okay. Right? Doesn't mean you're better.
His heart is still in it,
and
he's going even towards 40.
Jordan won 10 scoring titles to LeBron's 1 scoring title. Jordan was the defensive player of the year in 1989. He's the defensive player. LeBron was never defensive player. 9 times Jordan was first team all defense. I'll give you 5 times early in his career, LeBron was first team all defense.
Argue that LeBron should have got way more MVPs because he was always the best player all those years, but they don't count it. Okay, so now we're going to take away accolades from him.
You don't think Jordan was the best player for 11 straight years in Chicago?
No,
he was. It was just ridiculous how much better he was.
I'm not arguing that.
Okay. All right. So let's look at LeBron's buzzer beaters, okay? Because I know him by heart.
And he has more buzzer beaters than Jordan.
No, he doesn't. It's 9-8 Jordan. It's 9-8. I'm not cherry.
No, he does not. He does not have more, and he's played like not twice as long, but he's played like 8 seasons longer.
I'm not semantics.
That is not
I'm just
true.
telling you the truth. It's 9-8 Jordan, and I'm giving the 8th that thing the other night.
I'm sorry, wait, you only talking about the playoffs, 9-8.
No, I'm doing total, regular season of playoffs. The other night,
please fact check.
LeBron had a little tip in at the buzzer. Do you remember this? On Luka's missed shot, and LeBron's just right at the rim and just tips it over the rim, and you have to count that as a buzzer beater, and it was the weakest, easiest buzzer beater in the history of buzzer beaters.
I mean, it's a buzzer beater at the end of the day.
Okay,
I mean,
so here you
can't take that away from him.
I'm going to get to Jordans in a minute, but I'm watching every game LeBron plays, and it took him 477 NBA games before he finally hit a walk-off shot, and it was on Ronnie Turioff. It was at Golden State. This is probably way before your time.
Damn, my boy. Man, I don't want to talk about nobody. He need to put some chapstick. Why you gonna put the man on TV? Give him some chapstick. Get them lips taken care of, man.
2009 it was a regular season game, okay? And he hit it, and I'm like, way to go. I stood up and gave him a standing ovation. And then he hit the shot heard round the world against Orlando in Game 2 at Cleveland. You'll remember this. In the year that they ended up losing to the Magic.
True.
Okay.
But the game is more than just game-winning shots. You know that, right?
No,
right now
I know
you're going
that,
down a rabbit hole. If you want to talk about like clutch shots, end of game, but there's 47 minutes before that you got to play.
That.
Which
but
LeBron
here's the point.
Go ahead.
LeBron was born without a clutch gene. It's as simple as that. He just was. Jordan is the greatest clutch shooter I ever saw, and LeBron can be the weakest mentally superstar I've ever witnessed because he's afraid of the late game free throw line. And in late and close situations, since LeBron came into the league, he's the worst by far.
Why is basketball so much about the last 30 seconds when there's 47 minutes and 30 seconds in the game?
You're trying to make a GOAT case.
GOAT case, exactly.
Okay. And you're trying to make it over Michael Jordan?
Exactly.
You did a good job. You did a good job. Way to go.
Nah, he did. He was fighting with him. And he was, he's holding firm on his opinion. I like this Skip, man. See this Skip here? I wish he was like this on TV. You know what I mean? When he was fighting with Shannon, he made it too personal and became a dickhead. I know that's his character, but you got to show some life, show some love, show some, the laughing and the, good job. Like he should have shown that. That wouldn't make him be so, so much of an antagonist like he was. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Let's go. This is a lot of fun. All right, let's keep going. So
You're going to need that cross around your neck.
Yes, I will. I don't think LeBron's the GOAT. I don't think Michael Jordan's the GOAT either, though.
So we're going a different direction.
I think we're going to go in the direction of Stephen Curry. And I'm going to point out your simple statement.
Bro, you just came on here to start some shit. Steph Curry is the best shooter of all time. Yes. But he can't play defense? Like, come on, man. He's too small and he's not strong and, come on. But best shooter all time? Yes.
Curry?
You said laughably.
Okay.
And to me, that's bigger than Michael Jordan versus LeBron James. You are simply hitting and taking a personal shot at the entire game of basketball that we are watching today. And to me, you bring up competition. I think seeing Steph Curry and LeBron James and go head to head in their rivalry, LeBron always posts on Instagram, he says, iron sharpens iron. Where was the iron sharpening iron with Michael Jordan when he was winning all of his championships? I understand that 6-0 is something that is perfect. You really can't debate it. But what you can do is say, all right, it was a beautiful thing. We're going to leave it in the past because there is greatness in front of our eyes, and it's LeBron James and it's Stephen Curry. And then we get into LeBron versus Steph, and I'm going to sit here and say, Steph Curry, if he wins a 5th championship, which he will, which is why I'm saying Steph's the GOAT, if he wins that 5th title, he is the greatest of all time.
Okay.
Nah, I don't agree with that. I mean, I don't think the Warriors are in the game or in the playoffs. I think they're in the play-in game. So, if they can slip in, I don't see them getting past the Lakers, though. I don't see them getting past, the OKC. I just don't see it, man. The Golden State Warriors this year, they're a good team. But are they great? Are they good enough to win a championship? Not this year. I don't think so.
Do you realize that Steph Curry and company had a 3-1 lead on LeBron without there's no Kevin Durant involved here, right? It's just Steph. So I think you would agree that was Steph's team, right?
It was
there's
a tough
Clay and
performance.
there's Draymond and we get all that, but it's Steph Curry or bust to me.
Game 5.
Because Okay,
Draymond Green.
He's gone. He's gone. So you don't
Why?
have
Because LeBron made him gone.
If Steph is the GOAT, he's got 2 out of 3 at home to close the deal. All he's got to do is win 1 of 3, and 2 out of the 3 are at Oracle, and he can't pull it off because he's not that guy. He's not the GOAT. And what happened in Game 7 at Oracle? Remember LeBron's chase down block? Remember this?
Yep,
and Kyrie hits the game-winning shot. In the fourth quarter of that game, Steph Curry went 1 of 6, and he went 1 of 4 from 3. Well, I'm sorry, 1 of 5 from 3, and he had a terrible turnover with 2 minutes left where he tried to throw it behind his back and threw it in the 5th row. And it was
I remember that.
A key turning point in that game.
Yes.
And without Steph disappearing in the fourth quarter, LeBron and Kyrie cannot do what they ended up doing. And after they blew the 3-1 lead, what happened on July the 4th that summer?
Steph that was the
Curry
game.
led a contingent in a private plane, and they fly all the way across the country out to the tip of Long Island to visit Kevin Durant. And Steph Curry got down on one knee and said, "You've got to come save us. You, Kevin Durant, have to come save us because we can't beat LeBron James without you."
I understand. Okay? I understand that.
So you're disqualified as the GOAT. If you have to go beg somebody to come save you.
You're not disqualified because LeBron James, everyone here is talking about LeBron as the GOAT, and he did a very similar thing. When you look at Steph Curry and his greatness, I get that he choked in that moment. The 3-1 lead, you're never going to be able to beat that. But what he did in 22 against the Celtics and what he's doing now, you love Tom Brady. His best years are ahead of him. And I'm predicting that right now. Okay. Yes, 1,000%. I think the next 5 years of Stephen Curry are going to be his best 5 years.
We don't know that. I'll bet against that because he's 37 years of age.
Understand.
Interesting. Way to go. Good job. How are you, sir?
Man, good to see you.
This guy.
Right now, I got to school you on this. LeBron is the GOAT. He is the GOAT. I know MJ is 6-0. We're kind of just like mystified with that. But LeBron's longevity for 22 years, the work that he's done since 03.
Okay.
And he's been in the shadow of MJ for 22 years. He hasn't been, MJ, who did he look up to? He was with Magic, Magic, that smiling face. Love Magic, but he wasn't as intimidating as being in Jordan's shadow for 22 years of his career.
All right.
I know the 4 and 6 in the finals, but man, 10 NBA finals appearances. And just one more thing. I know we've talked about this. 2021, finals. The finals was the Nets versus the Bucks. 2018, it was Rockets Warriors. Jordan had to deal with that in the East. Oh, he wasn't pushed to a Game 7. He got pushed to a Game 7 in the Eastern Conference semifinals in 92. He got pushed to a Game 7 in 98 in the Eastern Conference finals. He's been pushed before. He still triumphs. Jordan, that 6-0. We're always going to be mystified from that. All around.
Okay.
It's LeBron.
I'm going to give you your first point.
I mean, not really, good points, but nothing that says that LeBron is better. I haven't really heard anything that says LeBron is better, though. Not yet, at least.
LeBron James is the longevity king. I mean, it's unquestioned. He is the most durable superstar ever. I'm watching a game the other night, and he hooks his thumb on the rim and pulls it. And I thought, oh, God, because that's your shooting hand. And I thought, man, are you gone? Nope. They go tape it up, and he goes right back in. Incredible, blessed durability. That's how you play 22 years at age 40. LeBron has now played in the regular season 60,000 minutes to Jordan's 40,000 minutes. So it's an apple and an orange almost. And if we go total, it's 71,000. If I add the playoff minutes in, 71,000 to 48,000. That's 23,000. That's a magic number that LeBron tried to steal from Jordan, and he shouldn't have. Because LeBron wished a lot of this on himself. He right away declared himself, I got next. I'm the next Jordan.
How many times during LeBron's 22 illustrious career, how many times did he take a break? I know Jordan's done that a few times.
He got one break before they won their last championship in the bubble, the Mickey Mouse Championship, as I call it. He got like a 4-month break ahead of that, and it served him well because I don't think he's going to win another.
He didn't play minor league. He didn't go in the minor leagues. He didn't go try to go be an owner of the league. He's gone 22 straight years playing in the NBA.
Longevity king.
So many
that
playoff
doesn't make you the GOAT. That makes you the longevity king.
Exactly.
Appearances.
That doesn't make you the GOAT.
MJ couldn't get to 10. He couldn't get past the Pistons. Just like LeBron couldn't get past the Warriors.
He did get past the Pistons finally.
After 3 years.
And there was a book written about it called The Jordan Rules, in which it detailed the rules with which the Detroit Pistons, the bad boys, had to stop Michael Jordan.
And thankfully he got Scotty.
To death of him.
Thankfully he got Scotty during that time because and he also had a head coach, Phil Jackson, during that time. Once they figured that out, But who did LeBron have as a head coach during that time? Mike Brown. Mike Brown is no Phil Jackson.
Nope.
He had Antoine Jameson. He had Ilgauskas. That's why he had to go to Miami. He had to go over there and team up. He learned how to win. And when
Eric Spoelstra is a real live coach. Like I would bank on Eric Spoelstra. And remember, Pat Riley was coaching the coach in that situation. So that was optimum. That was ideal. And LeBron needed a big brother to teach him how to win. And Dwayne Wade was that guy. Okay. Yeah. All right. Good job.
You're the man.
Way to go. Thank you.
That was awesome. That was good. It was good. Didn't convince me, but yeah, it was good.
I think my biggest gripe with your argument is the word laughably.
Yeah, exactly. Laughably,
I think your top 10 NBA players of all time is well documented. You've got people like Larry Bird in there.
I do.
You've got Shaq in there.
I do.
Did you know those two guys, within the last 3 to 5 years, have deferred to LeBron and called LeBron the GOAT?
I'm not sure Larry Bird has, but Shaq on TV will
verbatim.
Say that.
Verbatim. Larry Bird said, LeBron is one of, if not the greatest ever.
Okay.
You have him at, I think, at number 7.
I do. 9, actually.
9.
Just real quick, I got obviously Jordan, Magic, Shaq, Kareem, Tim Duncan, Bill Russell, Kobe 7, Bird 8, and LeBron 9.
Yep.
Because I'm taking Kobe and Larry Bird as clutch players over LeBron James every day and every night.
So if you look this up, Shaq also said that LeBron is the greatest ever. So with that being said, if Shaq is deferred to LeBron and said he's the greatest ever, that would at least make him 3. He deferred to that. He gave him 3. So the word laughably is really crazy to me, because also you've called LeBron weak. You called him
mentally
weak, mentally soft. It takes a lot of mental fortitude to play in the NBA for 22 years. It takes a lot of mental fortitude to be, called the king at age 13, 14, and live up to all those expectations without a hiccup off the court, without being, in the news for a negative reason. It takes a lot of mental fortitude to do that.
I give you all that. We're just talking about your performance on the court.
Yeah, we're talking about on the court.
Yes, the most points ever.
This is what really kills me about what I call you LeBron supporters. You're fanatic about it. You're blind witness, because you're blind to what happens. You expunge his record. You scrub his record. You don't want to hear all the negatives, and they just pile up. I call them epic fails, and I've given a couple so far, and I'm going to give a few more. If we can go back to that fateful Game 6 of the 2013 finals, I don't know if it's before your time, but I'm sure you were watching.
Yeah, no, he's watching. He's old. He's old enough. He looks like he's probably like near 30,
It's at Miami, and the Spurs have a chance to close it out in 6 games, and they're up 5 points with 18 seconds left. And I was a Spurs fan at this point, and it was unheard of to blow a lead, especially in a game of that magnitude that way. Down the stretch of that game, even in the final minute, with 40 seconds left and 20 seconds left, this is Game 6 closeout potential, LeBron had 2 unforced error turnovers that were horrendous. Even I'm not a LeBron fan, but I sat back and I said, what are you doing, man? He's unraveling. He made 1 3, but then he had to take a 3 to tie the game with 6 seconds left. And he, as I say, LeBricked
which would be a clutch shot.
Okay, it would be, but he LeBricked it. He bounded it.
One thing about the epic failures.
Yeah.
Would you call Jordan getting swept in the first round 3 times an epic failure?
Nope, because they weren't epic, because they weren't magnitude games, because these are in the finals.
Exactly. They were in the finals, and not only that, they weren't particularly competitive, because the other team that he was playing that was beating them was so damn good in the East. So that's the problem.
Finals. So it took Ray Allen making the greatest clutch shot I have ever witnessed, because remember, it's a LeBrick, and it's a long rebound out, and it's Chris Bosh goes out and tracks it down and kicks it in the corner.
To call someone LeBrick while having the most points ever is wild. Now, I know you're a Jordan guy. It pained me to say that Jordan's been swept 3 times in the first round, because I'm a Jordan guy too. But to laughably say that LeBron and Jordan aren't even in the same conversation, that's wild. It's a discredit to basketball.
I know you watched this.
Insane.
How about the Western Conference Finals just 2 years ago against Denver, okay? So the Lakers wind up getting swept, but 4 straight times they go to the fourth quarter right there. It's a winnable game for LeBron and company. First 2 are in Denver, second 2 at home. If you combine his shooting stats for the 4 fourth quarters, he's 7 of 23. That's horrible. That's how you lose games. And he was 1 of 10 from 3 in those 4 combined fourth quarters. Ouch. And in the closeout game, at, as I call it, the crypt here in Los Angeles. In the final seconds of the game, LeBron gets 2 shots to tie the game, 2 two-point shots, and neither of them he gets up to the rim. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? You're better than that. And yet the blind witnesses say, oh, we didn't see that. We don't want to hear about that. So we fast forward one more year because last year in the playoffs, they get Denver again, but this time it's in the first round. And games 1 and 2 at Denver, LeBron pouts in the fourth quarter because he can be a mentally weak diva.
Yeah, I remember that. Those were the 2 where they lost. That's where they lost, like on game-winning shots by Jamal. Was it Jamal? That was the 2 games where they lost on game-winning shots by Denver, right? Denver like won in the last minute.
He won't shoot in the fourth
final
quarter
shots.
of a winnable game. I'm going, what are you doing, man? Just take over. You can do this. You can rise above Joker and Jamal. Because you think he's the GOAT. The GOAT rises above because the game is begging to be won by LeBron James. And he won't shoot until there are 3 minutes left and the game's out of control. Game 2. He's got Jamal on him. He makes a sweet move. It's Jordan-esque on Brian Russell in Game 6 at Utah. And we've got LeBron James. This is Game 2 just last year in the playoffs at Denver. It's going to change the series. He gets a wide-open shot from 3. It's like a free throw from 3.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
He bricks it. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? Because Kobe's going to make that shot. Jordan's obviously going to make that shot. I think Shaq could have made that shot. It was so easy. Seriously.
Shaq
what do you have to say about Shaq deferring to
threes.
He said it.
PR.
He said it. Why would he say that though? Why does a killer say that?
Ooh, I got it.
You've been chomping to get up here.
Yeah, I've been ready for this. All right, but first I gotta say this. It could be SGA, it could be SDA, you can call it CIA. Lakers in 5. Okay. Just gotta get out the way. All right.
Okay. Lakers in 5 to do what?
To win the finals.
To win this year's finals?
Your friend, Shannon Sharp. Yeah. But anyways.
I love the Lakers. I love the move to get Luka Doncic. They're not winning the finals. And the problem is they don't have enough size, man. They got too many small dudes, and it's nothing against them. They didn't get a proper big before the deadline, and that's going to cost them, man. I'm telling you, it's going to show up. It's going to show up. Let's keep going.
Let's get back to the prompt, okay? I like facts.
But
facts,
numbers.
But
if they can make a great trade in the offseason or before the trade deadline next year for a good big, like, man, imagine if they still had Anthony Davis. Like, if they didn't get rid of him or they got him back somehow. Now we talking about a team that can go dominate.
That's something you can't lie about facts, okay? I like to say that LeBron is the greatest player of all time because of several reasons. He's the only player to be in the 30-point club, 10K club for assists and rebounds. He's the only player to be positioned in as a point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center at the same time. Okay, you have to debate that Michael Jordan or LeBron James is the GOAT in longevity. He's the GOAT just entirely because of what he's able to accomplish. What he's doing at age 40, he's breaking people's ankles. He's dunking on people at age 40.
I agree with you. I've never seen anything like this guy at 40.
And he's averaging as much points as he did in 2013 as the MVP. He averaged 27, 7 and 7. He's averaging 25, 8 and 8 as a 40-year-old.
He's actually shooting the ball better than he has in 22 years, both from the free throw.
I was about to say from the free throw line and from the 3-point. I'm some of these shots he takes in some of these games that I'm watching the Lakers, I'm like, oh no, come on, LeBron, don't take that. Because I don't know, his form when he throws the 3-point shot, it's kind of like, it's not like the prettiest. He like falls back. It's like a weird fallback type shot. And it doesn't look great going up in the air, but it goes in. And I'm like, damn, he's making these shots. I mean,
throw line and the 3-point line combined, his shooting stats are the best ever. They don't rank highly this year in the NBA. But
they don't rank highly in the NBA, but it's good.
77% from the free throw line and 38% from the 3-point line.
Yeah.
What took him so long?
Yeah.
I'm like, what have you been doing? I thought you were in the lab. This is year 22, and it took you this long to become an average free throw shooter. Okay.
What he's doing at 22, facts. Yeah, I'm doing stats and facts. Okay. You can take the last, say 5 40-year-old players that played in the NBA, that played at least 40 games. All right, you can take Manu Ginobili, Dirk Nowitzki, Vince Carter, Jason Terry.
Got me.
You can take all their retired numbers, put them together, and it won't average what LeBron's averaging right now.
Does that make him the GOAT? Longevity GOAT?
No, it's part of it. I think it's a part of it. And
it doesn't make him the GOAT.
The fact that Jordan is the most clutch player ever. LeBron is actually more clutch than Jordan was. There's a website called Fadeaway World. You can look it up. The criteria for clutch is anything in the last minute.
That's not what my stats say or scream.
Well, I'm telling you what I found.
Okay.
So I found that
he's
they
looking
said that
he's looking
clutch
at facts.
means the last minute of a fourth quarter or overtime game with at least 20 field goals attempted. LeBron James is 4th overall, hitting 54 shots. Jordan is 27th, hitting 9 of the shots out of 31.
All right. Let me just remind you. When Jordan made clutch shots, they really mattered.
I was about to say you can take a shot with a minute left and miss the shot, and then take a shot with 5 seconds left and make the shot. Which one is more important to you? The one with a minute left, the one with 5 seconds left, or the one with no time on the clock?
They endured. They were historic clutch shots because he first introduced himself as a freshman at North Carolina in the 1982 the NCAA championship game. He makes the walk-off shot, a jump shot, and Dean Smith called his number, not James Worthy's number, not Sam Perkins' number. He called Michael Jordan's number as a freshman. He was called Mike Jordan at that point. And then, remember, he introduced himself to the NBA world against Craig Elo in Cleveland, Game 5. This is the closeout game. This is for all the marbles, and he hits a hanging walk-off shot jumper over Craig Elo, and it became iconic. We all see it. You can just call it up on YouTube right now and look at the highlight, and look at his celebration. It won the series, okay, his first playoff series. And then, obviously, I was there on press row, courtside, Game 6 at Utah. Little subtle push-off Brian Russell against the Jazz.
Some weird-looking guys, man.
And holds the pose just beyond the free throw line and rips it, and it's a walk-off. Stockton got some heave at the buzzer, but it was a walk-off. It won the championship. It won Game 6. It closed them out. All of his shots had magnitude. Jordan, and
magnitude,
then I look at LeBron, and all of his walk-offs, and I'm giving him that little tip in the other day. Okay, let's call it 7 walk-off shots. They didn't matter. They didn't get you anywhere. There are 3 in the playoffs, and they're pretty good. But what do they say about the blind squirrel? He finds an acorn every once in a while. If you're going to play 71,000 minutes, you're going to hit a few walk-offs here and there when you play that much longer than Michael Jordan did.
Yeah.
Way to go.
He's kind of right, man.
Thank you.
He's kind of right. That's some good points.
Everybody did great. Thank you.
Yeah, it was awesome.
My next claim is Patrick Mahomes is drunk.
All right, so we went ahead and skipped over the Patrick Mahomes is wildly overrated. I just think that's stupid. The results are in the pudding. He's been to the AFC Championship every year. We don't even need to get into that. That just seems stupid to me.
Will came in pretty early and made a very smart and impassioned case for Kobe Bryant, and I appreciated it. So I'm going to go
That's who you want?
Will.
Okay. I feel like they knew they were going to pick him because, I don't know, the way he was just sitting there kind of fidgeting, he kind of seemed like he knew he was going to get back up there. I don't know. I don't believe this is 100% authentic, like he's getting chosen out of everybody. But you never know. Maybe it was.
I need to go back to the LeBron as the GOAT.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
Let's do it again.
Let's do it.
Okay, for sure. So I wanted to say that the only thing that Michael Jordan has better than LeBron James is better shoes and a better Space Jam movie. Other than that,
We definitely had a better Space Jam movie.
we can agree on
It
that.
was-
We could agree on that
it
for
was
sure.
money.
But I want to go back to the beginning of the career, right? LeBron was known as the chosen one. He was drafted at 18, fresh out of prom, expected to save a franchise. What did he walk into? That team was 17-65, worst record in the NBA. They missed the playoffs for 5 straight years. The best players on that team were Ricky Davis and Big Z. I like to call them the LA Fitness 5 because you could take me and one of my friends at LA Fitness, and we could still be the worst team in the league.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Goodness.
And then that team was ranked 29th out of 29th for NBA attendance, which means that neither the fans or the players were showing up.
Okay.
If there was a fish fry going on across the street, Skip, people would go to that fish fry. That's how bad it was. Mind you, only by adding LeBron James, they increased their wins by 18 games that season just by adding one man.
Oh, he's a great player.
Yeah.
He's a force.
Fantastic. But
6'9",
what was Jordan?
260.
Exactly.
Maybe as a rookie, 235. But
exactly. But what was Jordan doing at 18 and 19 years old? Well,
he was winning an NCAA championship for the Carolina Blue.
Yeah, but
right?
he was. I heard you say the chosen one goes to the frozen one, but Michael Jordan didn't even have the opportunity to be the chosen one because he wasn't even chosen first in this draft. He was chosen third.
Which
behind
was all-time stupid.
That doesn't mean anything.
Was it not?
But
Sam
I'm saying,
Bowie?
Yeah. Behind Hakeem Olajuwon and Sam Bowie.
I'll give you Hakeem, but I'm taking Jordan over Hakeem.
Exactly. And many people would, have in hindsight, but I'm just saying that this is how people viewed him. Like he wasn't even the first option on his team. That was James Worthy. So the way how I look at it is like, if you mean
when he was a freshman?
Yeah.
Except when you get to
But
the moment Dean Smith, the great Dean Smith, calls the last play of the game against Georgetown for the kid Mike Jordan, the freshman. And he nails it.
But I'm making a comparison, Skip, at that same age, LeBron is expected to take a team out of the poverty franchise and make them into a contender. They were saying it was Hall of Fame or bust. Not I hope he's good, not I hope he's great, but Hall of Fame or bust only option. Michael Jordan, on the other hand, we were grasping at straws. They were just like, well, I hope he's good. I mean, there's two people who we think is better than him in
how can you say LeBron is the GOAT when he's a career 35% three-point shooter and he's a career 73% free throw shooter? Trust me, by superstar standards, that's pathetic in both cases. He's a lousy free throw and three-point shooter. And in the three-point shooting, which he's improved dramatically in year 22, he's still high volume. So he's cost his team a lot of regular season moments because he takes way too many threes and he's way below average.
That's true.
So it's disqualifying as the GOAT.
Come on now.
Okay, but that was a lot of Steph's fault too, because Steph, you got to close that deal. Is that what you're talking about? 3 games to 1?
I'm saying exactly. I'm saying that we can't skip over the details in this regard, because at the end of the day, LeBron's biggest problem is he just ran into Steph Curry. That was it. Like if Steph Curry played in the 80s or 90s, they would have accused him of witchcraft. That's how he was shooting back then.
Okay, well,
that's true.
That, and I give you that.
I agree.
We've never seen like it, but Steph
never seen
has come
like
up
it.
even smaller than he is in a lot of big moments in finals games. He needed Kevin Durant to save him from LeBron.
But all to stop one man, Skip. That's what I'm saying.
But Kevin was the MVP of the next 2 finals, right?
I mean, he called the Avengers to stop one man. You got to think about that.
All right.
He called everybody.
The Avenger, right?
That phone was ringing. Everybody.
All right.
So, yeah.
But Steph is admitting to you, I can't do it by myself against that guy, right?
But the thing that I'm trying to make is there were systems built around Michael Jordan to make him who he is. They have the triangle offense. They had Phil Jackson. And Phil Jackson almost duplicated the same thing with Kobe. But LeBron James is the system. It doesn't matter what team you put him on. He's going to the finals within 2 to 3 years, and that is statistically proven.
Okay.
It doesn't matter what team he goes to.
I'm going to throw one more epic fail at you. This is the game 1 of 2018.
Okay.
And again, are they overmatched against Golden State? I guess so. But game 1 at Oracle, LeBron had the greatest final shooting night in his history.
Yes.
He is crazy hot.
He's the GOAT.
He's got 40-something. He's the GOAT.
He's the GOAT.
Yeah, he was about to be the GOAT lowercase of this game, as in the reason they lost the game.
New Hobby Hotel Lobby, Margot Robbie, Lakers at 5.
All right.
You already know it.
What happened at the end of that game 1? This could have been a GOAT case that you're making, LeBron James. And at the end of the game, he gets the switch. He gets little Steph on him at 6 feet. What do we give Steph? 2 or 3? I'll give him 3. 6 feet 3. And LeBron, they're down 1. So this is the scary situation for the guy without a clutch gene. Like, I know I got to make this, or we're going
home.
Going to the locker room.
Taking our asses home.
Right. And he starts to go up to shoot, and George Hill, who used to be a San Antonio Spur, flashes open, and he says, I got to kick it to George Hill. I never liked George Hill when he was a Spur.
Right.
No clutch gene, no clutch nothing.
No, nothing,
and he kicks it to him to take the shot of the game, and Clay has to tackle him to foul him. So George Hill goes to the free throw line predictably and makes the first one and gags the second one.
Yeah.
And then J.R. Smith loses his mind because he gets the offensive rebound and the clock runs out because he's dribbling outside. And LeBron goes and sits on the bench and pouts through the timeout before overtime.
Skippy wants to win,
he pouts.
though.
Jordan would never pout.
But you don't pout, though.
Jordan never pout?
Heck no. Heck no.
When did he pout?
Rallied the troops
now
and
you
said,
know.
we're gonna...
Now you know Jordan's teammates were not always happy with the way how he acted.
Yeah,
and
but they were
part of that was because of how he pouted.
They were scared. No, not pouted. He would pout over their performance, maybe, but not about. But he didn't go sit at the end of the bench. No, he would get in their face and say, "You're going to suck it up, and you're going to hit this shot or that shot."
But that's why I would argue that LeBron.
Okay. That was good, man. That was good. That was awesome.
By the super fans who challenged me repeatedly with high intellect, high energy, high charisma. They made me laugh. They made me think.
I mean, I watched Skip on everything, on ESPN growing up my entire life.
Man.
The fact that I could sit here and actually go head-to-head with Skip. People from back home could watch me do that. It's the feeling is unreal.
Yeah, man.
So
Congrats,
the opportunity
man.
to sit there, even for 6 minutes, and discuss the NFL, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs with him, that was the coolest thing in the world.
The only time I was frustrated was because they allowed Skip to be Skip, and it's Skip Bayless. But no, cut him off. He's cutting you off. Cut him off too.
I'm highly impressed that you could find that many people who could hang with me.
Okay.